afternoon, everyone. Today is the first day of presentation, season 2, and in the occasion of this first day, I present my presentation on historical context of the novel, The Great Gatsby. So let's start with the first day presentation. This is my personal information. Roadmap of the presentation, introduction of author, then a novel in a nutshell, a historical context of the novel, citation, and afterwards, thank you. The first slide is based on introduction of author. As we all know that The Great Gatsby is written by a famous American novelist Francis Scott K. Fitzgerald. He was born in place like Minnesota and died in California. He write his works in genres like novels, short stories, and fiction. He became a leading figures in the social important tragical club, a dramatic society, and was elected to one of the leading clubs to the university. He fell in love with the Geneva King, one of the beauties of her generation, and with the publication of this Side of Paradise, his work in 1920, Fitzgerald became a literary sensation, and he earning enough money and fame to convince Zelda, who is his wife, and also marry him. Fitzgerald also shares some characteristics with the Great Gatsby, a titular figure, J. Gatsby, a sensitive young man who idealizes wealth, luxury, and who fall in love with a beautiful young woman. While stationed at the military camp in the south, we all know that who is young and beautiful lady is this Daisy Buchanan. And after The Great Gatsby brought him literary celebrity, Fitzgerald fell into a wild, reckless lifestyle of parties and decades, like as we also seen in The Great Gatsby, like afterwards when he fulfilled all his wishes, like he earns enough money and he has some palace and all this. After that, he feel like a wild and recklessness lifestyle, and he also threw a big parties, and so this is some biographical elements who Fitzgerald share with the titular figure J. Gatsby. So these are some quotation. The loneliness moments in someone's life is when they are watching their whole world fall apart and all they can do is stare blanklessly. So this is a quotation by Nick Carraway, narrator. Second quote is J. Gatsby. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future, the years by years rearing before us. It eludes us then, but that's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, strike abstor faster, and then one fine morning, so we beat on boats against the current, bore back carelessly into the past. So this is also a famous quotation from the novel in nutshell. As you can see in the picture, like from the first to 9, every single picture shows the major events of the Great Gatsby novel. So the Great Gatsby is the most profoundly American novel of itself. At its concludes, Fitzgerald connects Gatsby's dreams, his platonic concept of himself, with the dream of the discoveries of America. So this is a whole novel in nutshell. So you can see the picture. A historical background. So I'm going to deal with these points like Jazz Age, Roaring Twenties, Flapper Fashion, the Prohibition Act, Great War, and personal context. So let's start with the Jazz Age. Fitzgerald wrote and set the novel in the 1920s, a time of great change in US society. Fitzgerald popularized the term Jazz Age. It's used today to define the period during which Fitzgerald lived and brought about his novels. In Fitzgerald's most popular novel, The Great Gatsby, jazz appears as the constant background music in his parties and all kind of these events, big events, who have this jazz music. Great Gatsby's parties festival intend to capture the air of the titular J. Gatsby's famously lavish bikini parties. Jazz is delegured to evoke the 1920s. To Fitzgerald's special position in his age, that age was not all Jay's age. And in spite of Fitzgerald's having half jokingly invented this name for the 20s, so this is term Jay's age, who is also coined by our novelist like Fitzgerald. Now the next historical background is this roaring 20s. Roaring 20s is all about throwing big parties and this flippers and all these things. The surrounding surging economy turned the 1920s into a time of easy money, hard drinking, and lavish parties. So 1920s is all about this drinking, liquors and parties, lavish parties and easy money. Flag profession. This flag profession is a major historical things in this novel. Like our two character who share these things with the characterization of this flag profession, like this Jordan and Daisy. These both are having this flip profession. In the left side of this, you can see the flip profession, and 1920s fashion is like in this picture, flipper costume. You can see how describably how this picture describe the flip profession. Like it is including all kind of elements which this flippers has. Also seen throughout the Great Gatsby is the flapper culture. This period of women's liberation show young women with a short hair and increased freedom. So Jordan Baker is also a best example of this kind of woman. Despite society is changing, the nature and world still hasn't accept Jordan as a independent person. So in this novel, also we can see that Jordan is very liberal person. Like she is a very independent girl. She doing whatever she want to do, and she doesn't care about society. Fitzgerald's central character in The Great Gatsby are never this direct in their judgments of her, but Nick and other to make passing comments about her character. Like also Nick and the other characters are also passing some judgment or comments on Jordan and Daisy also. Next is the Prohibition Act. So Prohibition Act is all about the ban of liquor in 1920s. So prohibition is another important feature in the novel. So in the 1920s to the 1933, alcohol sales were made illegal into United States. So this is the Prohibition Act is all about a ban of liquor or alcohol sales in the US. Those who supported the ban cited a decline in morals, religion, and family values as a result of drinking alcohol. So, prohibition allowed J. Gatsby to accumulate his wealth. He and his partner bootlegged this alcohol on the black market, selling it illegal and market a great deal of money. So, as we seen in the novel, like this business partner of Great Gatsby is also like they were illegal this alcohol, and they black market these things and earning money from the black market, and also selling of this alcohol, because there is no alcohol in the that society or not in the street of the US. So they are black marketing these things, alcohol, and after selling this alcohol they earn lots of money. After that, this is all alluded to with rumors like he was nephew to von Hindenburg and second cousin to the devil. So this is also a very famous thing about the Great Gatsby. J. Gatsby, as we can say that. The Great War, First World War. We can see this Great Gatsby means J. Gatsby and Nick Carraway. Both are a part of the World War. And after 14 World War, they came back to US. Like in the novel, Nick Carraway and Jay Gatsby are said to have been among those soldiers sent to fight in France. Nick mentions specifically the Battle of Argonne Forest as offensive in northern France near the end of the war. In The Great Gatsby, both Nick Carraway, the narrator, and Jay Gatsby himself are volunteers to World War First. I and it is World War First, and it is Gatsby's war service the kick of his rise from a Mr. Nobody from nowhere. So, in the world of his romantic river, Tom Buchanan to the fabulous wealth owner of the mansion of Westage and Long Island. So, this is the Mr. Nobody from nowhere. So, this is a statement given by Tom Buchanan in the novel. Personal context. So in this slide, I'll mention these things like Fitzgerald and Great J. Gatsby. They both have some biographical element in his life. So often reader try to draw comparison between Fitzgerald's life and the lives of the characters in the Great Gatsby. Fitzgerald's wife Zelda is sometimes compared to Daisy Buchanan. This comparison is strengthened by the fact that the two didn't marry until Fitzgerald had published his first book, and it proved to be a fictional successful. So this is also mentioned in this things like in novel also says that Daisy marries to Buchanan because he was very wealthy person of US, and Gatsby also believed that J. Gatsby also believed that after earning lots of money and after having mansion, that's why Daisy will allow herself to marry him. So this is the comparison of Fitzgerald's wife Zelda and Daisy Buchanan because they both marry a wealthy person after Fitzgerald earns lots of money, and because of lots of money, Zelda say yes to marry him. This is a similarity to how Daisy and Gatsby didn't marry because the latter lacked the means of giving Daisy the life she wanted. As I also mentioned earlier, that she said yes to marry Buchanan because of his wealth. This is why she marries Tom Buchanan, and the loss that inspired Gatsby to strive for the life he achieved, it also led to his downfall and death. Conclusion. Now the Great Gatsby sent in what was called the Jazz Age, a term popularized by Fitzgerald, as we all know right now, or the Roaring Twenties. The Great Gatsby vividly capture its historical movement, the economic boom of post-World War America, the new jazz music, the free-flowing illegal liquor. As Fitzgerald later remarked in an essay about the era, it was a whole race going hedonistic, deciding on pleasure. So this is mentioned in Fitzgerald essay. So this is work cited. Thank you. Now, if you have any question, then you can ask me.
Drashti, what is the Prohibition era and how it shaped the events and the characters of the Great Gatsby?
Okay, so prohibition era is all about illegal liquor. As I also mentioned in my presentation, like this prohibition of illegal liquor or alcohol. That's all mentioned in the novel, and also we can see the character of Great Gatsby and the character of Wolfshire. They both have this. black money because of this selling of illegal liquor. So I hope you satisfied with my answer.
Drashti, how did the end of World War One impact American society and culture, and how is this reflected in the novel?
Hmm. World War First is very important event in the American history. Like in the novel, Great Jay Gatsby and also Nick Carraway both are fought. They both claims that they both fought in World War First. So American society is also very, I mean, say this World War First have very basic, or we cannot say that basic, but we can say that World War First is very important for American society, and also about this culture, because World War First, after World War First, that Prohibition Act is also appeared in the American society. So I hope these things is I hope you are satisfied with my answer. But and also I want to say these things like character like Jay Gatsby and also this Nick, both are having these things in their characteristics. Thank you.